Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 212 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I always look like shit, and I look even worse right now. Joined by KC.
I just look a bit tired.
Yeah, I may look like shit, but do I look better than Leeds United?
Well, I've seen murdered corpses that look better than Leeds did.
A murdered corpse, so they've already been killed, and then they're murdered again.
Yeah. Stop. He's already dead.
Yeah.
So are our hopes of survival.
Yeah. This is going to be really quick because one, I've got to get to Ellen Road. Two, I'm not well. Don't worry, I have taken all the tests. They are all negative. I'm going.
It wasn't
Fulham
super herpes.
So Fulham 2, Leeds 1.
It's very flattering.
Yeah, I mean, what can we really take out of it? I mean, defensively, it was a bit better.
Yeah, I found the issues were one, Melier again, just with some poor decisions. We're probably not going to go through it in much order. The first goal very much comes down to, and we'll never know whether Verba gave him a shout to leave that cross or not. Because I think if he gets a shout and leaves it, I think Verba puts it behind for a corner, and they probably score from that. But at least in that moment, he's not at fault. And he pushes the other one out, but I still don't see that changing. I still don't see Robles coming in for a few games.
No, I mean, if he does, I'll be okay with it. But from the press conference, it sounded like he's sticking with Melier. The second one I thought was really bad goalkeeping of the two. The first one, although they're both bad, the first one I can see how it happened. That second one, if you're palming it out, he isn't reaching for that ball. He's got loads of room. Just make fists.
Yeah.
And get some distance on it. Or at the very least, if it goes straight to him that way, it's going at pace and he might not have time to react.
Yeah.
The first goal, I was more annoyed at Christensen. There's
just
a bit
drifting in towards the ball, doesn't he?
Well, it just runs completely the wrong way. We have 1 against 3 in the right half, and then a player on the wing and Christensen. We've got plenty of coverage inside, and Christensen just goes in with him. And now the detail with that is whether that's Christensen not being able to lead a game to save his life, or whether that's an instruction. Defend inside. And that's what worries me, because if it's that, I'm actually more annoyed.
Yeah, obviously that was very disappointing. I thought for the most part, Liam Cooper, solid game, which is what I'm desperate for from any defenders at this point. Is just give me a 6 out of 10, please, and I will snap your hand off. Was fine, got in some tackles. Verba, same. Cooper
both of them rumoured to be injured for tonight.
Yep, great. But Robin Koch is thrilled.
Yeah.
But the other thing I thought that really killed us was the 2-man midfield of McKennie and Rocker. You've got one who doesn't have the legs to get back and one who is totally inept.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing to make Mark Rocker look good like the last couple of Weston McKennie performances. I mean, what was it? 11 completed passes. And that, pardon me, that What Next account tweeted all of them, including his misplaced ones. And 4 of the 11 completed passes were bad. And someone gets a toe on it before they dispossess, so it counts as a completed pass. It was just completely ineffective. And that was one of my questions, because we'll just fly through it. Do you think Forshaw for McKennie is one of the changes tonight?
I imagine it depends on... Well, I was going to say it depends on the fitness of maybe Bamford or someone like that. But does Bamford come into a team ahead of Brendan Aronson? The evidence suggests not.
I mean, someone should.
Someone should, but Sam Greenwood, fuck it, put Darko JB at 10. Someone If they're going to play like that, I feel like there needs to be a third man, because one thing Weston McKennie...
Yeah, in the notes there. Forshaw for McKennie, question mark. Forshaw for Aronson and play 3 centre mids.
Yeah, Christ, the thought of the lack of pace in a Rocker Forshaw midfield.
Yeah.
I think your ball retention would be much, much higher with those two. But again, I just think you need someone with the ability to just sit in front of the back four. And I think we suggested last time, if you'd kept Firpo in it, and I would love seeing Verba do that.
Yeah, Verba like really holding in front of Cock and Cooper.
Yeah, and again, because it then allows, and I suppose it allows Firpo and Christensen to get forward a bit more, knowing you've got someone who will just drop in to make it a back three when we're in possession.
You do realise that you've got us in a 4-1-4-1 here. There's a thing.
No, we're not going to mention him. No,
you're working your way towards it.
We're not doing it.
I was thinking about it at my work desk earlier, and in the space of 10 minutes, I convinced myself that we needed a back three, wing backs, 3 centre mids, 2 wingers, and 2 strikers, which doesn't add up. I had us in a 5-5-2, basically.
Oh, correct. The thing I am holding out hope for now is the lack of fitness in Barnes and Maddison, who obviously both missed out at the weekend. And I pray that they are, or at least one of them. I really hope Harvey Barnes is not fit for this game. I think
Barnes has 10 minutes in his legs. He's scoring.
Yeah, I think Maddison is the better of the two players, but Harvey Barnes always scores against us.
Yeah, he's like nailed on if he plays, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, for me, do you look at this team and just think, we need to get a win here? We need to play Bamford and Rodrigo together. And
I think you need to do something.
Even if it's just 45 minutes, just get those two up front together. Please get Aronson out of the team. Please.
I would be tempted by something drastic, whether that's like making 5 changes or whatever it is. Like, Leicester won their last game, whether they're any good or not. Dean Smith knew he needed his side to score goals, so what did he do? He picked Daka, he picked Vardy, and he picked Iheanacho.
Yeah.
And went, look, we're going to have a go.
And the only reason...
I think we're getting a bit like that. I know they had players missing that kind of forced his hand, but I think we're getting a bit into that kind of situation ourselves.
Well, that'd be the interesting thing as well, because Vardy went off at half-time, but the talk was that he had gone off with an injury. So whether that impacts him today or not, I don't know. I haven't seen Dean Smith's comments about it, but God, it's just living in a dream world where Barnes, Maddison and Vardy all miss out, and then Iheanacho scores a hat-trick and it all doesn't matter.
Iheanacho's a great player, so it's very possible.
He's a good player. Patson Daka, very good goal scorer when he gets a chance. We need to go for this game. I think the crowd will turn very quickly if we stand off them. Their defense
minutes away.
Their defense is not a defense we need to be worried about. Playing its way around us. I think you need to go. To be honest,
look at Wolves' goals. That's how they got it. They pressed them and won it.
Yeah, and I suppose you do need Rodrigo in there because 1, he's your top goal scorer, and 2, he is a quality player. But I would like to see 2 centre forwards who just got at them, and whether you could get away with Bamford and Nonto doing that. Again, I don't think Nonto would be the most organised at doing it, but he's a lot stronger than Aronson is at this point.
There's a temptation for that very reason, and I don't think he's going to do it, but Bamford and Ruta.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll do it.
But... We've got to use him for something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we could come. I mean, I have got a note here that's talking about potentially starting Sonny Perkins. I am out of ideas. I am just I am in a bit of a throw the kids in mood at this point.
I found it so incredible that in the 2 months that Graffi has been here, that the loss of Tyler Adams in this team meant that we changed our style of play against Fulham so drastically from that FA Cup game.
Yeah.
Like, you could very easily have put Sam Greenwood in that midfield and just had Mark Rocker sit back.
Yeah.
And still have that 4-3-3.
Or start Forshaw, or play JB, or took Harrison into a midfield three, which I'm not mad keen on, but he has done it a few times.
But we shifted so far away from this 4-3-3 that we played against them in the cup, that was on the front foot, that was so positive, and there was none of that at all in that performance. No. And I don't think they were set up to be like that. Like, they looked like we were dropping off when they were in possession. And I got it against Brighton. And I'm not saying this is a knock against Fulham. Like, Fulham have had a good season. They played fairly well. I don't think we needed to be nearly as afraid of Fulham as we were Brighton. But
no, and it was Fulham missing their best player.
Yeah, we were so. I can live with the team playing defensively if you're good at defending, but we're not. So why play this passive defensive football that you just know isn't going to last? And if you don't get the first goal, you're in so much trouble.
Yeah. Another one that had a bad game on against Fulham, Jack Harrison. He had one of his days. I am severely tempted by the idea of really going for it, like having Sinistero and Nonto on the wings and then picking two forwards and just fucking going for it. But the problem is you can't really trust a Rocker McKennie or Rocker Forshaw midfield behind that.
No.
As much as Tielemans hasn't been playing well, if he has a good day, he'll rip you apart if you do that.
Unless you just give them no attacking freedom whatsoever and just say, you two, sit. Just, this is our front four. They are the ones who push up. Don't you worry about that.
We are almost, at this point, before I just said, you've got in a 4-1-4-1, you're going back to Bielsa. Everyone stays back and you've got four up front, you just press high off that. That's Jesse Marsh's first game against Leicester. In the 4-2-4. But I don't think we're good enough to play our way through and create chances now.
No.
So I feel like it's forced mistakes or nothing. I have never had less confidence in our ability to play football than, well, not never. That's hyperbole. There's not very often I've had less than right now.
Yeah. I mean, we were out on the Otley run during the Leeds game, and when it came time to move on with 20 minutes left, we were perfectly comfortable moving on at that point. It was.
Yeah. I've gone back and seen it, but we would normally have said, no, we're not moving till next bar until Leeds game's done. And we're watching it, and we just, fuck it, we'll go now. Like, that's not like us.
No.
I've never done that at the game, but for TV, it's about the second or third time ever. There was one where we went 4-0 down to Brighton in no time, and I went round to my dad's to watch it, and I just walked home. And I think this was like the second one. As you can tell, I can barely speak, so we're going to have to make this properly quick. The under-21s won 3-1. If they get a point on Friday, they've won the league. That's the only bit of news, really. I aren't going to talk about that knobhead in his Twitter space. Except for one quote that, in his words, putting in effort isn't really Western style. That's the words of his mate, apparently. So, what change if there is no Cooper and Verber, which is what it sounded like? What do you think it'll be tonight?
So you'd have to assume it's back to Strauch and Firpo. Because defensively,
because who else is there?
Yeah, there's nothing else there. I know managers aren't going to dig players out in press conferences. The fact that at halftime in that Fulham game, Javi Gracia thought the team was playing fairly well was alarming, to say the least. I honestly despair at the thought that nothing changes.
And you're not
like,
would you be honestly, would you be shocked if other than injury force changes, nothing changes?
If Brendan Aronson is still in the team in this vein of form after this amount of time, why would you start dropping him now?
Yeah.
I
mean,
yeah.
I think you've got to get Sinisterra and Nonto in. Even if one of them's playing 10.
I was going to say, how do you think that best works in as much as their best position is both coming in off the left?
I think you put Sinisterra on the left, you put Nonto through the middle with Bamford. And current form, I kind of want to say Somerville on the right, but I think you pick Harrison because he's a bit more disciplined.
Inside forward, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo chasing back
so well against Man City.
Yeah.
No,
I honestly don't know.
No, it probably, as much as it probably is a bit harsh to drop him because one, I don't think he had a good game, but he had absolutely nothing to work off with, and then he was just bollocking people for how far back he was having to drop to try and get on the ball. Which is something I quite like to see, to be honest. Him going, no, can you get the fucking ball to me, please? I think he pretty much summed up his afternoon when he went and made that challenge on the byline and then just booted it out for a corner.
Yeah. He also put Willian in the wall, didn't he?
Yeah. Classic Rodrigo.
Yeah. The actual aggressive tackles worth talking about in that game were like 2 from Rodrigo and 1 from Liam Cooper. That's a weird mix.
Yeah. But yeah, you're probably right in as much as I'd love to see Nonto at 10. And again, like if you're playing like this as a manager, you can't be snippy with people when they say, why is your contender for player of the year not starting? Like if they were asking this question about Sam Greenwood or someone like that, I understand that. Like it's easy. We've all sat there and gone, well, he's not played for a while. He could be some good. But no, Willie Nonto is probably our player of the season.
I mean, he's up there. Weirdly, it's probably him and him and Verber, Tyler Adams.
Him, Verber, Adams. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that we have to press. It doesn't have to be like full on man to man, but FaZe and Soyuncu will make mistakes, and Didi is not what he was, and he's been playing. I mean, they dropped that Somali at every verse end, so I'm assuming he can't be playing that well. Obviously, further forward, whoever it is out of Daka, Vardy, Iheanacho, Maddison, Barnes, and like Dewsbury Hall being the attacking mid, they're all good players who can all hurt you if you mess it up. But I just think we have to have a go. And if you get 5 subs now, if all the forward players from chasing around like mad and knackered after an hour, fine. I'm all right with that. So long as the effort's there and we're really flying into things. And just if someone can get their head up in the middle and just break the lines with a couple of passes, it'd make all the difference in the world.
Will we? No.
I'll be honest, mate. I'm like in full pessimism mode. I'm going 2-0 Leicester.
Flying in the face of all my beliefs and everything I've said, 3-1 win.
God, I hope you're right.
Because if when there's nothing left to believe in hope.
Believe in the shield.
Funnily enough, my girlfriend is who is not a football or sports fan at all. We've started watching Ted Lasso, and the line "It's the hope that kills you" came out, and she went, "Oh, you've said that a lot." I was like, "Yeah. A lot of football fans do."
But we could have it on. We could have it in Latin on the badge, couldn't we?
That would be fantastic.
But no, we are in a situation now where I am finding it hard to see where another win comes from, and it has to come tonight. Like, I really think it's that simple. I think if we don't win tonight, I think we're gone.
Yeah.
We won't be mathematically or anything. We might not even drop in. I think we would then become actual favourites. And I'm guessing that a lot of Leeds fans have done what people were talking about, because when I had my pessimism bet on Leicester a couple of days ago, they were like over 2-1 and they're now 7-4. Money that I really, really, really don't want. Just come on, you keep it. So we need a bet from you, KC, and because they've done it, I have to. It'll be void if he doesn't start. Harvey Barnes anytime, 10-3.
Yeah, that's safe if he plays. I've already got one. I actually opened the window before the podcast, so look at me being organised. I've got Leeds to win, Leeds most shots on target, Leeds most corners, and Leicester most cards at 11-1.
Most SOT corners and Leicester cards.
Yeah.
Oh, and what price is it?
11-1.
Oh, right, that's written down. Honestly, I don't even remember what we went for bets wise on the last one. I've forgotten to note it down. I'm going to have to listen back, so I don't know if either of us won. I have no memory of what we said.
I don't believe I did, because mine were mostly Leeds based, and that would involve is having to have a shot on target.
No, I remember now. I had Rodrigo 2 shots on target, McKennie 1 or more fouls, and the McKennie bit came in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, come to think of it, I think that Leeds only had like 2 shots on target. So yeah, they won't come in. So that is a very, very quick podcast. It's basically my fault. I've only just finished work and I'm sick as a dog. So we will do another one probably in a bit more detail after the Leicester game, if we want to, because depending on how it goes, we might just really, really, really not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Casey, can you give me something to cling to? Can you give me something?
From what I have learned, I am going to be a bit wanky and call myself a podcaster here, is and mostly from listening to others' podcasts, that in your greatest depths is when you record your best podcasts. And yes, we do need to rebrand the Griefcast somehow to avoid plagiarism.
No, like I think that's true. I think that's true for like the Square Ball guys. I think I think it was more enjoyable talking about Bielsa, to be honest. I think it was far more enjoyable. But anyway, there's no ifs and or buts. It's, it's time. We have to win tonight, and that's that.
Well, as when you say it's time, it is Vader time.
Maybe he can play centre mid.
He would fill up a space.
No, that will do us, because that will give me like 5 minutes to have a shower and see if it can make me feel slightly better. So I've been Jack. See ya.
I'm Casey. Have a good one.